Hello, hello once again to the Hungry Bleek podcast. I feel like this could have been actually two or three podcasts because I've been having a conversation with this gentleman for the longest time. I haven't seen him in quite a while. One of the most genuine, talented, incredible individuals that I can think of, truthfully. Few years, few years ago, like I don't know, maybe about 3 years ago. So I guess that's few. I was in the hospital for a while. Came out, had a dialysis catheter in my chest. So I had a pouch hanging out of my chest, and I had a tube in my neck and in my chest. You can still see the scar here, little scar. And there's like two new scars on my chest. Well, two new scars if I'm in fights every day or like battling zombies and nights and stuff like that. I already had a scar on my chest, so I had like two new ones. I got it removed. I was so happy. I was elated. I was in the park. I was having a great time because the hospital right next to the park. I was about to go into this restaurant and eat. I was so hungry. If you know, obviously, the Hungry Bleak, Antonio Pomares, I'm always hungry. Makes sense. So I was about to go into the restaurant, and I got a message on Facebook Messenger. Looked in there, and it was this gentleman. And he was like, "Oh my God!" He was apologizing to me. He was like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were in the hospital." I was like, "How you doing? Are you all right?" And everything like that. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, man. Great. It's fine." And I stood outside the restaurant for about like no, excuse me, maybe about 10, 15 minutes. So stood outside the hospital. Excuse me, the restaurant. I didn't want to go in because I was just having this great conversation with him, and I could have went in and sat down and had food in front of me while I was texting and stuff like that, but I didn't. I was just so just elated and so grateful that there were people that were asking how I was, and for him to not be on social media like that, and he saw it and he was like, "Oh my God, how are you doing?" And again, to be apologetic to me, I'm like, "No, don't worry about it, but thank you so very much for even checking on me like that. It was great." And we had a really great conversation. There were people who checked up on me damn near every day. Some people offered to buy me groceries. Some people were sending me like PDFs so I could read in the hospital. It was just great. And this was just one of the gentlemen who came out of nowhere, popped up like the superhero Grim Avenger, amazing person that he is. And seeing him at cons is amazing. And I miss that. This is another person that I miss at cons. It's great. But I'm so glad to have him here on the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, gender fluid, non-binary folks, this is Chuck Collins.
How you doing, man?
Thank you so very much for being here, sir.
That was like I'm sitting here like tearing up.
Dude, like I try to give like the
Oh
most
man.
personal and like most impactful introductions that I can for people, and everybody tells me,
Hmm.
"Yo, I'm about to start crying," and then you bring me on screen. You can't do that. I'm like, no,
How you gonna do that?
this is
How
what
you gonna do
this is
that?
what happened. But no, that was one of the best things possible, man. When and I was at such a low point at that point, but I was just like, finally got this out of my chest. It's great. Then you popped up, and I was like, damn. Yeah, that's another reason why I didn't want to go into the restaurant was because I was like, damn. And I was having this really good conversation, and like I felt like because at that point, because of everything that was happening to me, and because of part of the illness that I had, I was like very emotional, and I would cry at the drop of a hat.
Hmm.
And I was like, damn, I'm not going to be in there crying and messaging him and trying to order food. That whole combination
Oh
looks crazy. That
man.
whole combination looks crazy, but it was so beneficial, and I just appreciate it, man. And I appreciate you even being here on the show. I know you got a million and one things going on. Love you got. I mean, you got all these projects. You got the beards growing in. I'm digging the hat too. I'm digging that hat, man.
Oh yeah,
Beautiful.
it's funny. I just like I said to you earlier, I was outside. I went to go get a few things at the store, and I kind of just stayed this way. I was like, oh, I'm going on soon. I'm gonna do this thing with you. So it was like I'm just gonna leave the hat on and everything. But thank you. This is not a winter hat. This is actually a summer hat. And
Oh
I messed up when I went outside, and I was like,
yeah.
oh, I'm only going up the block, and I was like, my everything
Mm-hmm.
was cold, and I was like, oh
Yep.
my god.
Them ears and
But
and the back of your head.
yeah,
I know.
luckily I had on everything else. I had the peacoat
Oh, all right.
on, I had the mask, and everything was good. But it was just this whole this it's made for the breeze to go through,
Mm-hmm.
and I just but I was like in such a rush. I just grabbed any hat, like okay, I'm out. I need to go do this.
We've all been there, man. We've all been there.
Yeah, man.
So
Oh man.
today we're going to be talking about two things that one is a very recent project that came out, which is awesome, which is leading into another project this weekend, which is going to be Falcon and Winter Soldier. Uh,
Yes.
we're talking about Wanda, and we're going to be talking about anime, which you are like this. You are the perfect person to talk about. I feel like I could sit under the learning tree and learn everything as far as anime from you. And again, I didn't go to school for it. The terms that you use, what have you, but I'll take it because I love learning about things. And I love checking out anime and that's like that. So let's start with WandaVision. This
Yeah.
was so different.
Hmm.
Taking these two characters that have kind of been like, as far as the MCU go, kind of been like almost like BC level characters,
Right.
bringing
Right.
bringing them into the forefront, taking all the MCU lore that we've gotten,
Hmm.
giving them their own series, but turning it into a sitcom. Well, excuse me, putting it in that sitcom format, but still giving you this feel
Hmm.
of the MCU, and you don't know where you're at the first three episodes. Then you're jumped
Right.
into that. What was your take on WandaVision?
Oh man, I absolutely loved it. I thought them going the sitcom route was totally up my alley
Mm.
because me growing up, my companion was the television. So there was a Twitter thing, that trend that was going around, is like, name four shows that you would use as your coping mechanism if you were Wanda.
Oh,
And I think I used, it was Good Times,
hmm,
because that's pretty much how I grew up.
right.
Then there
Yep, good
was
time.
I think it was Rock. Remember that old show on
Charles S.
Fox that used
Dutton.
to come
Oh,
on with Charles
yes,
S.
yes,
Dutton?
sir.
Yeah, Rock.
Yes.
And I think it was, I forgot the other two. But like TV shows that were like, oh wow, that's like real Brooklyn stuff or whatever, or like
Hmm.
that inner city urban feel. But I was like, definitely would not have been as family friendly as the 1950s or the 1960s, the way that Wanda did it. But I did
Hmm.
grow up on those shows too. So like,
Yeah.
watching those on TV late at night or early in the morning. You stay home from school, you see the Munsters come on during the day and everything else.
Yep.
So like with the whole thing with Agatha, when her little song came on, I was like, oh, that's totally the Munsters.
Dude,
You know,
that was
but
so great. Yeah, that little, yeah, it definitely was the Munsters, but like it was something that now today you could bop to that. You got, yeah,
oh yeah, yeah. All
this
the
is all right.
remixes that were coming out, yeah, they
Oh
had
yeah,
this dude that did
yes,
like a trap remix to it. I heard
yes,
a lo-fi
yes.
remix to it. It was insane. I love it. It was great. But
Yep.
yeah, I think that the show really started off. I don't think, I think it was very brave of them to take a nuanced way of telling the story outside of what you know MCU fans
Yeah.
learn to what they knew and love. Like, we're just going to start off with the superhero stuff, the origin story stuff, the cool interaction between the superheroes and everything else, but then putting you in the scene of this woman dealing with all these traumatic things that happened in her life, but the only way she can cope is by going to the things that she found, some semblance of inner peace in, which
Yeah.
was the TV shows she watched. Because
Hmm.
it reminded her of that peaceful time in her life. And even that time was all kinds of messed up, because there was a revolution and all kinds of stuff happening in the streets. Meanwhile, at
Hmm.
home, at least she was with her family, being peaceful and watching these shows.
Yep.
But to see that, and the way the show evolved, I thought it was pretty brilliant. Um, I do have a few gripes about it as to the way it ended, but we can get to that later.
It was, yeah, that the like you were saying, yeah, like that was their safe space, was
Yeah.
being there. So yeah, when you look out the window, saw the whole revolution, everything going on, then like just close the curtain and then put on the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yep.
Once yeah, it was
Yeah. It's Dick Van
putting
Dyke.
that there. Like honestly, a lot of us can actually empathize with that.
Hmm.
Like this is your safe space, or even like if home life wasn't too good and your parents are out there arguing,
Absolutely.
what have you, go in your room, you turn on your little TV, because back then we
Hmm.
didn't have these TVs, we had these little It could
Exactly.
literally be a box,
Yeah.
and you was good with it,
Yep.
and you would turn it on because there was no remote control, so you had to turn that knob, turn it on, and that's what you would do.
Hmm.
The way it really hit as far as grief
Hmm.
and showing the five stages without you maybe realizing at first it was the five stages, but then realizing
Yeah.
that you were going through them with her,
Hmm.
and how they, yeah, definitely mix genres. And you know what? Everybody who was on the show did a phenomenal job because these are people again who were kind of relegated to the back. And one of the people who's widely known as being someone in the back of scenes or not always being a star was Catherine Hahn.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, my first introduction to Catherine Hahn was Anchorman. She's
Yeah.
a lady, yes, and that and everything. And then she had a limited series on HBO too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of it.
I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, I
Yeah,
do remember that.
and that was
Yeah.
daring because because there were certain scenes where I was like, oh my god, no, 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 no,
Yeah. Yeah.
no,
Yeah. No,
because it's
my
Catherine Hahn.
first, yeah, I think my first introduction to her was Step Brothers with
Oh
Will
yeah,
Ferrell and
yeah,
John C. Riley.
yes.
Yeah,
Oh my god,
she
yes,
played I think Will Ferrell's character's brother's wife, who
yes,
was in love with John C. Riley because he punched him in the face because the brother was such a douchebag, and she
yes,
fantasized about him, and then like all their like
oh,
awkward love scenes, which
yes.
is
Oh my
I think
god,
my favorite was when she had the fantasy where they were in the woods and he was a centaur, and they were talking some weird like made up Elven language. Like that was
yes. Oh my god, I totally. You know what? I think that's on Netflix. That might be.
yes.
I might have to go watch that
And
again tonight.
you
Yes,
know what? It's
yes,
funny because like I WandaVision started and she was in it, and I have the DVD. I purposely watched it again just
yes.
because I was like, because she's hilarious. But then I saw, yeah, and then I saw her in Anchorman and all these other movies and
Hmm.
everything, and I was just like, yeah, she was definitely. But it's funny because she's always had this awesome range of comedy and drama,
Yes.
which like was perfect. Like
Hmm.
there was, I don't think there could have been anybody else that could have played Agatha Harkness the way that
No,
she did. You know?
no.
Yeah.
And she has had that range, and she has that smile.
Hmm.
You could put her and Joker next to each other, and I would be more terrified of her smile because her smile has range, and it's weird for your smile to have range, but it does. It can be playful, it can
Hmm.
be comedic, but it can also be sinister and sly and mischievous. And she did this perfectly.
Absolutely.
She could have
Yes.
easily been a female Loki. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Hmm.
She could have
Yeah.
easily been a female Loki,
Absolutely.
and she
Absolutely.
has. And when they do finally show the stuff that you're not seeing, almost like an M. Night Shyamalan kind of like
Hmm.
reveal of,
Right.
oh, you didn't see these little moments, and seeing it,
Right.
and her smile, and she's like, oh, and her facial expressions. She's already been in the game for decades, and she's been doing it. I love how the MCU will give someone who's been in it for decades and kind of been, like a character actor plodding along, and then we'll give them this
Hmm.
huge spotlight.
What? See, you're talking about her. I'm more amped up to see if there's ever going to be a Dear White People reunion. Because if you remember, um, what's her name? Oh my God, why can't I remember her name? Who plays Valkyrie? Tessa
Oh
Thompson.
my, yes, thank you, yes, thank you.
And homegirl that played Monica Rambeau. The first
Uh,
time I saw the
Tiana
both of
Ferris.
them, yes, the first time I saw the both of them was in Dear White People. I don't know if you remember that, the movie, not the
Oh
series.
yes, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, I want to see the both of them
Ooh.
on screen again. Valkyrie and Monica Rambeau come together and do something.
If
But
they do some kind of A-Force movie or
I,
series, I'm so
something,
down for that. I'm so down
yeah.
for that.
Because I was like, I remember that was the first time I saw what was her name again? The actress who plays Monica Rambeau again?
Oh, Tiana Paris.
Yeah, yeah. First
Yeah.
time I saw her was in Dear White People, and she was amazing. And I remember seeing her. I was like, why isn't she in more things?
Hmm.
And when she was casted, I was like, that is perfect,
Well, she's
absolutely perfect.
in If Beale Street Could Talk. I want to say
Yes, that's right. I forgot about that. That's
she's
true.
in there,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, but that's the thing. See, again, these actors that are in there. I
Hmm.
mean, Paul Bettany. I think before all this was told that his career was over.
I mean, yeah, with Priest and
Yeah, I mean, and he did do some stuff that, what have you. But then he did, the Avengers movies and come on, and he showed it more and more and more, and I love it. He has a movie on Amazon Prime now, I
yeah,
think called Uncle Frank, might be the
yeah.
name of it, I
I
want to
think
say.
it's called Uncle Frank. I think I saw it. I saw something for. I haven't been on Amazon Prime in a minute.
I've been on there a lot lately. I've been on there a lot
Yeah.
lately. Yeah, I haven't. Too much, honestly.
Oh man,
But
I go over there because they have like all the one off little classic horror movies that nobody's
oh
ever heard
yeah,
of. Yeah,
yeah,
I love
and
that.
they've actually started doing free stuff on there too. Like you don't have to be an
Yeah.
Amazon Prime, started doing free stuff, which is
Hmm.
great. Like I think they have um a side streaming service because there's a streaming service that the also that they have for free is on that streaming
Hmm.
service is for free.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
If I remember the name of it, like I'll actually send you a message and go like
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
end up
Send it
going
to
on my
me.
PlayStation, what have you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but giving these people, I mean, like giving everyone and Tiana Paris,
Hmm.
that episode 4, where I think the title of it is something about interrupting. We're sorry to interrupt your regularly scheduled
Yeah.
program,
So,
like something like that.
right. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
We get the immediate return of someone after the blip
Hmm. Hmm.
in the most chaotic place possible that you can do it, in a hospital
Yep.
where everything else is happening. People
Yep.
are already in surgery, dying, hospice, what have you. But then you getting people back who maybe somebody was in surgery when they were blipped. Maybe
Hmm.
somebody was giving birth to a child while they were blipped.
Hmm. Yep. And it's so messed up because it's like it finally answered the whole thing of like, what if people were in an airplane and they got blipped? Were they going to appear in
Yes,
the sky?
yes.
Like, what's going
Mm-hmm.
to, how much
Mm-hmm.
of that? I mean, they haven't tackled that, but I'm sure that's that would have been a thing. But yeah, that was a very defining moment because even the movies didn't show you that. You saw the
Mm-hmm.
aftermath. You saw the people like in counseling for people who were like trying to cope with the blip,
Yeah.
but you didn't see the actual comeback. They didn't tackle that in any way. They didn't,
Yes.
whatever. And I thought this was, then they saw it as a perfect opportunity to like, make mention of it. So yeah, they really really went in. Um, I think I spent more time having fun of the what ifs of what could have happened, like as far as the who's going to be the villain, who's going to be doing this, who's going to like looking at all the things in the background to see like
Oh,
what's that doing there? Like, why is this? And then, trying to find out. And then at one point, me and my girl was sitting there. I was like, maybe we should just enjoy the show instead of looking for. We
dude,
rewind stuff and like, yeah, it was crazy.
that's all me. I have stopped
Yeah,
theorizing.
yeah.
If I had heard or seen Mephisto's name one more damn
Oh
time,
man,
it,
I was on the Mephisto train, man. I was watching YouTube videos like, you know, like top 20 Easter eggs you missed last episode,
yep,
or
Looper, yep.
yeah, Looper, or my other favorite dude from England, Heavy Spoilers.
Oh, really? Oh,
That's my,
okay.
yeah. Oh yeah, his channel is off the hook, and he's got the dry English humor, which is
Oh, it just makes
hilarious.
it even better.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
not. I have come to the fact of not trying to figure anything out. I just want to
yeah.
enjoy the ride. I want to enjoy the story
Hmm.
that you're trying to tell me. I'm not trying to figure it out. I don't want to know nothing. Like even with movies and
Yeah.
stuff like that, I'll only watch one trailer. I won't watch
No, no, no,
any.
yeah. I'm
I
actually the
won't
same
anything
way.
like that.
Yeah,
Well, because now
yeah.
trailers they show you too much. You're like, oh my god,
They show you too
oh
much.
stop, stop,
Yeah,
stop, and I don't want that. So I went into this, and even if you're looking at the trailer, like people were dissecting trailers, and I'm like, okay, let me just step back. I'm
yeah.
good.
No,
I'm
no.
good.
You dissect the trailers, it becomes too much because it's like you're
Yeah.
seeing the same scene over and over and over again, and it's like even with people like dissecting the screenshots of
Yes.
the new Spider-Man coming out.
How are y'all doing
And
that?
I'm
How?
like, wait, so there's there's a shot where all three of them are looking into the distance and there's a shadow standing over them. It's like, who is this? Well, according to the way that this shadow looks, it might be this character. I'm like,
For real.
no, no, y'all just no, stop.
For real.
Stop all
For
of
real.
this.
For real.
Stop
Like
all of this.
it's
This
at a
is too
certain
much.
point, I'm like,
Yeah.
can we just watch it? So I was just
Yeah.
sitting there watching it. I didn't care who was the villain at the point. I mean,
Yeah.
we know who the villain is and who the villain is,
Hmm.
which makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and how they went across different genres with the sitcom and the comedy
Hmm.
and everyone that they kind of emulated too, which is kind of cool. Like, oh well, what sitcom is that from? What sitcom is this from? Which is kind of cool. Like that's something again, because growing up, like we had those sitcoms where they're a lot of them weren't like the ones that have no laugh track. Like it's like they're trusting you to know what's funny,
Right, right. And
which is
I
great.
think the one episode, I forgot what it was, where I think it was the fifth episode where Vision started to see everything for what it was, and then
Yes.
Agatha came in and Vision said, I can't remember exactly what was said, but Vision said something, and then Agatha was kind of like, okay, should we start? And it was to see the break of her like ridiculous, crazy character
Mm-hmm.
break, and then just go into this whole serious face of like, okay, should we do this all over again? Like an actual, like it was an actual set,
Yes.
you know. And I saw that, and I was
Yes.
like, that right there is what you call not just good storytelling, but good acting.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I like that a lot. Stuff like that they did in there that was really, really, really amazing. Also, even with Monica Rambeau's character, like even her being in there as Geraldine, and then
Yes.
seeing that slow progression, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to the point where it wasn't even like she came out of it and was like, oh, you know, now I know I'm in this alternative universe and everything, and now I got to go and leave this thing. No, it just came back as like a simple memory that Wanda just happened to. It was just a fuck up on her part. It was like, oh shit, she knows about Ultron. How do you know about Ultron? I've never seen you
Mm-hmm.
before. Like and it broke that whole thing, and
Yep.
that's when you start to see like everything start to wash away. It's kind of like waking up from a dream. Like
Yes.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
ever
That's
had that
yeah.
that experience of like it's happened to me, but like where you see part whatever you're dreaming about starts to mend with reality as you're waking up.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's really weird. It's like how that happened, and they captured that, which was pretty cool because it went from Wanda being Wanda to like just get the hell out of here. Like
Mm-hmm.
and she just blasted her out of the whole thing, out of the hex, and it was pretty crazy. But yeah, a lot of things that they did like that was really really cool. I think it was I think they were very brave to go with that aspect of storytelling, but I also think it paid off really well, and I would like to see more stuff like that in the future, not just from Marvel, but like any other you know way of telling a story. That was pretty brilliant.
Yeah. I've for a while I've wanted I mean Marvel, just because they're the bigger of the entities like right now as
Hmm.
far as movie stuff like that. But I've
Hmm.
wanted more of that different storytelling, different ways, because there are so many different. I can go on my phone right now or my tablet and bring up comics that I read now that are just they're nothing like what you think they're going to be, or they're different
Hmm.
storytellers, and not just necessarily superhero stuff, but just even like slice of life comics. I mean, one great one is Invincible, which they are doing,
Invincible,
because it's
yeah,
again
yeah.
right
Hmm.
where it started out as superhero, but then it became this slice of life that happened to be
Hmm.
about a superhero,
Yeah, yeah.
and just became like in my top three of superhero comics because it's amazing.
Hmm.
But yeah, that I've wanted Marvel for a minute to go to that supernatural side.
Hmm.
I want
Yeah.
that darker edge. I wish they had kept on what was it they were supposed to do? Ghost Rider
Ghost Rider
to
would have
do
been
for
really good.
Hulu. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hellstrom was mm, not what
Hellstrom
I expected.
was it's not what I expected. I didn't hate it at all.
Yeah,
I kind of liked Hellstrom um, because it felt a lot different than
yeah.
the other stuff.
Like it
But
honestly was darker, which is what I've wanted, that darker
yeah,
supernatural side,
I
which is good.
definitely yeah. Like if they could have taken honestly, if they really wanted to push the envelope, they put out more like R-rated movies. Like
Yes.
honestly, I think if they really wanted to go crazy and ham with something like Venom. Like I didn't hate Venom either. A lot of people had problems with it. A lot of people were like, "Oh, this is whack," and I didn't hate Venom. I mean, look,
Mm.
the Venom itself is a symbiote introduced in the Spider-Man comics. It was goofy. It was literally a symbiote suit that was built like Arnold Schwarzenegger and had a huge gaping maw.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no amount of CGI would have saved that character design. Like,
No.
people were like, I don't like the way it looks. I'm like, how the hell do you want? It's a big gummy ass monster with a big mouth.
Yeah.
Like so,
There's honestly no way that
there's nothing
anyone
you
would
can
have
do
been
with it.
totally happy. There
Like
wouldn't have been.
exactly. So, but then I think they had an opportunity to go the horror route and do like a typical like body horror story where they could have pushed the envelope a little bit on that. But it's like I think a movie like Blade set that tone.
Oh God,
It
yes.
set that tone already, so it's
So
not like it
high.
wasn't there.
Hmm.
And I think the last thing that we saw that was in the same dark tone was Punisher, because it was so dark.
Hmm.
Punisher, people were dying left and right in there, and I was like, Jesus, I don't know how y'all gonna connect this to the MCU. But the thing is, when
Hmm.
you do look at the range of the comics, you did have comics where Punisher was out here killing mobsters in brutal ways in the comics, and then the next issue they're teaming up with Spider-Man and Power Pack. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yep.
it was such a big range of the way that they would do it in the comics. You can get away with that, but in the movies, I guess it's a little bit harder. But
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why with Wanda it was such a relief to see them break away from that thing. It's like it almost felt like the superhero and the powers were secondary to the storytelling.
Yes. Thank you.
It
Yeah.
was secondary. It wasn't
Hmm.
like there was one part where Vision was trying to get back home and they were in the car in that big van,
Yeah.
and then Vision was having an interview and he's like, oh, what? Why am I doing this? And he flew off,
Yes. Yeah.
and then
That that was
because you
hilarious, but so made so much sense. So much
exactly.
sense.
And the thing is, it made so much sense. But then because you got so much into the characters, you actually forgot. Like, oh shit, yeah, Vision can fly. I
Hmm.
forgot about that. Like, and
Yes.
then you saw that scene, and it really brought you back to the fact that these are actual superheroes.
Yeah.
Or even seeing where when you saw the superhero fight towards the end, the last episode where he went up against White Vision. Sorry, I don't mean to spoil it for nobody who saw it, but
No, they're fine. Don't worry
it's
about
been it's been
it. They're
weeks.
right. They're fine. Don't worry about
It's been weeks, y'all. I'm sorry. I had a friend of mine a long time ago when Final Fantasy VII first dropped, way back in the day, like years and years ago, and she didn't play it the first year it came out, and then like I think something like 2 or 3 years down the line, me and like we'd be in a group of friends and we'd be talking about like Final Fantasy and Sephiroth and everything else, and then she'd be like, "I still haven't beat it yet." I'm like, "It's been
it.
5 years.
No. No.
Like,
No.
I'm not. No,
No.
we're not gonna do this.
No.
Like,
No. Not today. No. 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 Not today.
I
Not
remember
today.
when the remake dropped and I hit her up. She's one of my best friends. It's like, and I hit her up and I was like, "Oh, you gonna get the remake?" And then she was just like, "Yeah, yeah. I never beat the other." I said, "I know. Now you can actually beat this one." And then
What?
she was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Yeah."
Oh,
And I mean, to her credit, she was playing. She was a hardcore gamer back in the day. She was playing a whole bunch of different things.
all right.
You know what I'm saying? So she didn't. And to her defense, Final Fantasy is a very long game. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I get why you didn't fin. She was in school at the time and everything else and all that. But I'm like, it's been damn near 20 years. Like your shit's gonna get spoiled for you.
I'm saying
I don't
yes.
care. And she's like, I know. I was like, yeah, just don't. If you're gonna ask me, like, I haven't gotten to that part. I'm not. Nope. You're gonna hear all the spoilers in the world. This is what's gonna happen.
I mean, you know what? At that point, I'm like, I'm just going to probably email it to you too later on, just to
I
make sure that
mean,
you read it. I mean, just because I'm gonna be nasty and I'm gonna be rude to you
exactly,
now because
exactly.
I
I'm
feel like
just
you
gonna
deserve
send
this.
you. I'm gonna record. I'm gonna record my TV as I'm watching it and send you parts, the most important parts that give away everything. I'm gonna send you all the plot twists.
That's it.
Like as I'm. In fact, I'll live stream it to your phone
That's,
while I'm watching it.
damn, diabolical. Damn,
No,
bro.
it's interesting. It's interesting because like Karama
Yeah.
gets screeners all the time.
All right.
And so there are times where we've watched a bunch of different things. We didn't get one for Wanda, but there have been times we've watched, you know, certain things, and I can't say nothing for like about a month.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I
You
can't
got me
say, I
wrong.
can't share nothing with nobody because I mean she has to, they know that there's another person in the house, but I can't be saying nothing.
Exactly.
I
Yes.
like. I
Exactly.
remember I saw even Lovecraft Country. I already saw like half that whole series before it came on HBO. and I couldn't say
Damn.
nothing to nobody. That's the reason why when I was drawn, I did the fan art for Lovecraft Country
Hmm.
when it came out. He was like, "How you doing this after this?" Like, no, I did them a while ago. I just couldn't. I
They thought
couldn't
you
put
was
them
doing it like
out.
that day. Like, damn, man,
Exactly. They thought I did it like right after the show was finished, and I
you a
was like,
monster.
"Nah." Exactly. I was like, "Nah." I was like, I wouldn't say nothing, but I was just like, "Nah, I can't reveal how this happened."
I mean, yeah. The thing that you were saying about Vision when he was sitting in the van, he was like, wait, like I can fly. And he just flew off.
Hmm.
It does show that their powers are secondary as far as story, but it does show how detailed they are too, because that was something that would have happened in because that was modeled that those episodes were modeled after uh extended family. No, was that series with Ed O'Neill recently. Um
Oh, Modern Family.
yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Because it
yeah,
was like because that episode was modeled after that.
yeah.
So and I've watched a few episodes of that, and that's something that one of the characters would have been like, they're having a conversation like, wait, why am I doing this? Like I can fly and
Exactly.
just flying off. So
Yeah.
that even that little detail of that storytelling, that crafting
Hmm.
of yes, this makes sense in this realm, in this in that bubble, when they're
Hmm.
doing that, that totally makes sense. Because if you were sitting at a table and someone was talking about how hungry, oh man, I'm so hungry, and you're like, wait, why am I sitting talking about I'm hungry? I have a sandwich, and you pull the sandwich
Exactly.
out
Like
your
it just
like out of your jacket, which I've done a bunch of times. Honestly, I pull food out of my jacket, and people are like, where you get that from? I'm like, look, don't ask about my business. Nobody, like,
don't
just
get into
don't ask me
business.
how I do
Just
what I do. You don't
I've
ask
got
how.
time.
I'm
I've
saying,
got Time Lord technology in this pocket.
look,
I've got a whole
you
refrigerator in here. This is none of your business.
you don't ask nature how the wind blows, so don't ask me where this sandwich
Exactly.
came from. For real, like don't, because you. And matter of
Oh
fact, you're
man.
not ready for these answers, so don't worry
Exactly.
about
You're
it.
not. You
Don't
don't know. Yeah.
don't
Don't
worry about it.
don't don't ask a question where you're not ready for the answer to. Like just don't.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. But like little details like that just shows the crafting of it. It's just so amazing, and just it was just so great. And then to have it slip from in that in the series finale or season finale. I don't know if they're going to do a second one. If they do, great. If they don't, I'm perfectly happy with that. Also, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
How they had half of it was like a superhero battle with Vision
Mm-hmm.
versus White Vision, and that
Mm-hmm.
sounds so funny to say because the memes
Right.
that started coming up about White Vision, I was like, black people are so quick. We are so quick. Yo, the quarantine has sharpened everyone's sense of humor,
Oh
their
my God.
technology skills, the
It's
creativity
insane.
out there. We already know that we comedians, but now we really showing how funny we are.
When
It's
they changed his
ridiculous.
name, when they changed his name to Vashon,
Bruh,
I was done. I
the
couldn't.
turtleneck, the gold chain, that
And
pose was that
I don't
pose.
know who thought of it. Like when I saw that scene, I didn't think about that. I wasn't even thinking about it. Somebody paused. Somebody must have been like, I need to get a glass of water. I need to go to the bathroom, and paused it at that point, and came back was
Yo,
like, yo, why he look black, and then made a meme out of it. Like I wouldn't even have thought about that.
that
Like
pose is. He was
it
like,
was crazy.
the first one I saw was he was standing with his hands on something. He was like,
He was handing stuff. Like,
yeah,
yeah, I was like,
yeah, you hungry? Yeah. All right, won't you cook us up something? I
exactly.
cried that night. I
No,
cried tears of joy.
my favorite was when they were tucking in the kids and somebody took the scene with Wanda in the foreground and
Yes,
him leaning on the door, but he's got
yes,
a cigarette and he's got like the do rag on
yes.
and he's got the belt and he's thinking from the door. It says,
Yo,
"I know your mama told you it's time for bed." Like,
yo, yo.
oh shoot.
No
I was
chill,
like,
no chill whatsoever.
none. I was like, I was
No
done. I
chill.
was, but see, that's
Oh
the
my
one thing
god.
that I do love because when it was the same thing with Game of Thrones, and like anytime that there's like some major thing, that's like a series going on, black folks just take a liking to. All the
Mm-hmm.
memes come out. Like that's my
Yep.
favorite thing about Twitter. Like
Yep.
I'll wait until the episode is done, and then I'll go on Twitter and I'll look at all the memes, and I will sit there and laugh my ass off.
And you
It's
never
a
have to wait
pastime
long.
for me.
You
No, you
never have
don't.
to wait
No, no,
long.
they'll do
They'll
it
be there
while
that
it's
night.
no while it's airing. Somebody will
Yes.
make the meme. I'm like, oh wow,
Oh,
that is just. I think I did one, and I can't even remember what I said during Game of Thrones. And it got it. I was like, why can't I get this from our artwork? This is crazy. It got like up to like 2,000 reshares
yo,
and all. I was like, whoa.
they was coming up with every. I was like, yo, but Vashon, I was like,
Deshaun
y'all
was
was
it. That
really.
was it for me.
So how many from about 9 months from now? How many Vashons are we gonna see?
Oh wow, yeah,
For
we're
real,
gonna see it. We're gonna see a couple of them.
that
We
is.
probably see. Yep.
I was so mad. I was like, who? And then somebody put forgot his name his jewel Lil Uzi,
Oh, Lil Uzi Vert.
Lil Yachty. I
No,
don't know
it was
the
Lil Uzi
difference. I'm gonna be
Vert.
honest with you. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that
know.
like
Yeah,
his
Lil
jewel
Uzi
up here.
Vert.
I was like,
I know.
y'all just don't. And then somebody put a watch on him. Then somebody put rings.
I was
But that
done.
pose is like him just standing there like.
I was like, yeah, exactly. I know. With him just smiling, I was like, yeah, that is some black. That's some black shit right there. That
I
was
wa-
like,
I was like, y'all don't, and black people don't. But that shows that we love something because
yeah,
sometimes we'll roast the ones that we love the most.
absolutely. Yeah,
So that's real love because if we don't like something, we ain't gonna talk about it at all. Like we'll praise, but we ain't gonna talk. But we're like, oh, this is what. Oh, word. Oh, you got
yep,
the the new Jays. Oh, okay, all right.
exactly.
Like we'll go in on it. So that shows
Yeah,
up. I just want to see Paul Bettany's face. Like Black Twitter. What is
No, that
Vishon?
that was that.
Is it
See,
Vishon? Is it
this is
Vishon?
another. I want
Oh my god.
and I'm gonna say it here. You know what? I'm gonna tell Karen about it too. This is what we should do. We should have a new segment in like either Nerdist or Fandango or one of these other major outlets or
hmm
BuzzFeed. What they do is it's uh, MCU or anything that's big at the time reaction to Black Twitter.
Yes.
Because they have, you know how they
Yes.
have the ones where they have like the actors reaction to, mean things people say on
Yeah.
Twitter or
Yeah.
thirst
Like
traps that they send on
yeah.
Twitter or something like that. Like I want to see them in their reaction to Black Twitter and what they
Oh,
must say.
because I'm picturing him in like the makeup and everything, sitting there, his legs crossed, and he's got like his phone, and he's reading like Vish. What is Vi? Is it Vishon or is it Vishon? I don't. I was. Oh.
I'm just
And
assuming it's
he's
Rashawn, kind
and
of
him
having
just
like a
sitting there.
Rashawn or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he's like, how did I get on Black Twitter? I don't remember logging in. Oh, it's just regular Twitter, but Black. I don't understand. Like his just
exactly.
reaction and just and I want someone to explain to him, no, 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 no. This means they love you. This
Exactly.
means they love you.
You have
And
now, yes.
and don't ask about cookout because we're gonna beat your ass. There is no cookout. We're not doing it.
No, no, we're not
There's no
doing that.
cookout, and there's no red cups. But we appreciate you, and we love
Exactly.
that. We
Exactly.
love
That's the
that.
whole thing. I tell people all the time, man, yo, y'all need to stop worshiping these people for real. Because
Don't because the next week
people,
something gonna happen.
something gonna happen. Every time you like something. Well, it's funny because like I remember and we were talking about this earlier before you started recording, like the whole thing that happened with Joss Whedon. I know
hmm
people that were like super Joss Whedon fans. He couldn't do no wrong. He couldn't say nothing that was bad. He couldn't put out a bad thing. Everybody was such big fans.
Oh,
And
just
I'm
wait.
like, just wait. And like I said
hmm
before, these motherfuckers tell on themselves after a while. And I'm just sitting there looking at all this stuff coming out. And trust me, I loved Buffy and Angel as much as the next person. I love
Yeah.
Firefly just as much as the next person. And you
hmm
see all this stuff happening, and I'm just sitting there laughing at him like, ah, you suck as a human. But
Dude,
then
yeah,
people are sitting out here like, oh, I can't believe this is like, stop worshiping. Stop worshiping them.
you can
Like
because you can love someone's
you
work.
you can love someone's work, but the
Mhm.
moment you separate the work from the artist or whatever, but even that's a far stretch. I mean, I know people
Yeah, I
when
honestly
when the
can't.
whole R. Kelly thing happened, people was like, man, it's messed up what he did, but I'm still going to listen to his music anyway. And but now, like, look, even I don't. That argument is ridiculous to me. But it's like even listening to his music now, and you listen to the lyrics, I
Thank
can
you,
never
thank
do
you,
that.
thank you,
I
because you
can't just
see it.
listen to his song because you see it and you're like, no. So like it just becomes
hmm
that thing. It's just it you enjoyed it for the time that it came out.
Right, exactly.
You are going to enjoy better things in life. That is what you
hmm
call progression. That is what you call growing up. That is what you call growing as a human being. So you
Yes.
don't have to hold on to that thing because if that person was a piece of shit, they're a piece of shit. Like you can't change the history of that. Like
I
that's
mean, for
not,
real.
but
And
it's
Joss, like Charisma Carpenter had told on him a while ago
yeah.
after Angel. Like it was, I think it was like during like a San Diego Comic-Con panel.
Yeah.
She didn't say, but she said the whole
Hmm.
thing that happened when she was pregnant. And I was like, oh, and then I thought he had, again, grown as a person, changed, evolved because he
Hmm.
started getting this work. Like I was never like, like rushing to, be, to see any of his stuff, but his stuff is cool. Like, I don't know if I could watch Buffy now because it's
Hmm.
dated. So I don't know how I would feel about some of the stuff, but but just the work at
Yeah.
that time, like you dig it. Firefly is still funny as hell. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Hmm.
But it's just great stuff.
You dig it
And
at a
then when you
time
hear
when he
this,
came. Like, yeah, you hear this stuff. I mean, like I was hearing off the chain things about him even before this whole thing came. Look, I believe that the first time when Ray Fisher came out and said all the stuff about Justice League and him when they were doing the reshoots, I believed it.
mm-hmm,
Look, I'll tell you this: working at a
mm-hmm,
bar, I've worked at bars for about almost 15 years of my life. I will tell you some of the things that a lot of these people be saying. Um, that like like I'll see white boys come in at that have major positions in huge offices and that work in the entertainment business and everything else. I see the way they treat people when they're at the bar and they get drunk. So when I hear about these allegations that come
yep,
out against them, I'm like, that doesn't surprise me.
yep,
Because when I see somebody gets drunk or gets high on coke and does all the crazy things that they do, it says, I can only imagine when you're sober. The only reason why you're doing this right now is because you're inebriated and you have
mm,
no filter. But all
exactly.
that microaggression, passive aggressive nature, all that stuff, that's always present. That's you can't turn that off because that's you. That's your true
Thank you.
nature. So like
Exactly.
when I hear these things, I'm like, not surprising to me at all. That's the reason why I don't like it. I'll sit there and say, oh yeah, this creator is pretty cool. And some shit comes out, I'm like, not surprised.
Yeah,
It's just what it is.
because like I said earlier, human's gonna human.
Exactly.
And if you
Exactly.
are, so let's talk about anime.
Hmm.
There's a lot of there's so much anime from like and especially with all streaming services now, like you can have all the old anime that you maybe used to watch. Like I've been watching Ronin Warriors on Amazon Prime. That's why I've been on Amazon
Yeah.
Prime so damn much.
Right. Right. Right.
But we were talking about like just anime and like studying it alone. Like we could do like probably a 3 hour episode of studying it alone. But some of the animes that you're watching right now, one that you brought up especially is one that I'm digging a lot because it's a newer one,
Hmm.
which is
Jujutsu Kaisen.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
It, I don't even know. I think I started watching it after God of High School because God of High School was what I started watching that was new, and I love God of High
Right.
School. I absolutely
Yeah.
love it.
God of High School is great. Yeah.
That opening theme is my
Oh yeah.
ringtone.
Yep.
Contradiction, yes, give it to me. I
Yeah.
love it all. Then I saw this, and I saw people talking about it beforehand because I want to say when it pops up on HBO Max Crunchyroll, I think it's like a day or two after it pops up on just regular Crunchyroll.
Hmm.
I think I'm not
No,
really sure.
it's usually I think they're very well in sync now because
Oh, are they? Okay.
yeah because it's usually like right after it airs because I think they already do the what you call it the subtitles
Oh yeah, yes,
you know,
yes.
like right before like I think they're doing those as they're putting them up in Japan and then they have them on the ready.
Hmm.
So it's usually right after it airs. Yeah, I mean, see, I'm such a huge fan when it comes to a lot of that stuff. Where I heard of Jujutsu Kaisen before it came out,
Hmm.
um, because so many people were heavily into the manga, and there
Oh,
was an
okay.
announcement that Studio Mappa was picking it up. Studio Mappa, they're the same people who's doing Attack on Titan now.
Mm.
They've got a couple of things under their belt. They've done a lot of really awesome animes, but people were like, "Oh, Map is picking this up. Oh, it's a wrap." So I remember a lot of the animators that I follow because see, it's a funny thing is a lot of people, and I find this between is something we were talking about before, like Facebook, how much it sucks.
Hmm.
But something I find,
I mean,
I
it's not a
tell
lie.
people, yeah, it's true. Something I find that people are afraid to go on Twitter, and I'm like, I found the best things on Twitter. Like I don't understand. A lot of the animators that work on the shows that we like
Hmm.
you know, everything. this other anime that I watch, Wonder Egg, Jujutsu Kaisen. Even with the new Psychopaths, there's a new movie that's getting ready to drop this
Okay.
month for it. I follow the actual animators on Twitter and that work on the show, and they
Mhm.
post things. You know, usually after every episode airs, they'll share their what they call genga, which is like their hand drawn animated scenes. Like before
Oh
it
wow.
goes to color, before it goes to compositing, anything else, they'll share their hand drawn scenes, and
Mhm.
they'll be like, "Yeah, I worked on this episode," and they'll show the animation they did for it. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, this is amazing. And this you don't get this kind of access on on Facebook. Like, I don't know
No,
why
you,
people are so afraid of Twitter, because it's like, you know, because why? You say something stupid, you're gonna get dragged.
that's
That's
probably
just
why.
life.
Yeah.
That's life. That's like if you say some dumb shit, you're gonna get the consequence for it. So just so
Hmm.
don't say dumb shit. Um it's yeah, so like when I watched those, that's how I knew Jujutsu Kaisen was going to come out, because a lot of the people that were following were working on the show and saying how much fun that they have on it, and they couldn't really share anything because they were working on it at the time. But when the shit dropped, it was like they were like, yeah, all these scenes and this, and you've seen it, so you've seen these fight scenes and how intricate and crazy detailed they are,
Yes, which they are.
and you see like the keyframes from it, and you're just like, holy crap, this is like, and this is the reason why I tend to say like there is no reason why, you know, American animators can't put out this amount of work, which they do put out, you know, a decent amount of work, but it's like I've seen only a few shows like from here that have done like that kind of quality stuff. Like I watched, I haven't watched the full thing, but Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is one that I love a lot, because they
Mm.
literally use Studio Trigger as their platform. They were like, we're going Studio Trigger route. We're going to do all the over the top stuff. We're going to study everything that they've ever done. We're going to hook this up, and it shows in everything that they do. Like everything is like they studied nothing but like Die Buster 2, Gurren Lagann, and Kill La
Mm.
Kill, and then they put
Yes.
together Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know. And it's funny for me because, like I said before, like I don't collect comics as much as I used to. I collect art books, so I have a crap ton of groundwork books from a lot of the Studio Trigger stuff. So when I was watching some of Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I was like, I know that scene, I know where they got the inspiration from, so I go to the books and I'm like, yeah, that's it, you know. But yeah, it's just so much amazing stuff. And usually I tend to gravitate towards an anime based on the studio that I know and love. That if I hear that they're working on a new anime, I'll check it out, because I know it's going to be something pretty dope. One manga that I started reading a few months ago, which is Chainsaw Man. Just got announced that it's going to be turned into an anime, and Studio Mappa, the same dudes who are doing Jujutsu Kaisen and the new Attack on Titan
Hmm.
season that's out, they're doing this one. They're doing Chainsaw Man. So
That
I'm
sounds
like
familiar for some
super hyped.
reason. Like I know I haven't read it, but that sounds familiar.
Yeah, you've probably seen it. It's
Mm.
the most over the top, ridiculous like thing that you can ever see. It's like it's exactly what the title says. It's
The
Chainsaw
Chainsaw
Man.
Man. Yeah.
He's Chainsaw Man. He grows a chainsaw out of his head, and he's got chainsaw hands, and that's what it is. He's
I
got a
mean,
little rotor
just
that he'll thing, and then the chainsaws come on, and that's it. I'm not kidding.
so I'm gonna have to be on the lookout for that one too. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Bet.
Look for that one. That was gonna be dope.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the, like going back into anime and like trying to like not really knowing a lot, but just diving back in and going, oh, like I've like between Hulu, HBO Max or Crunchyroll,
Mm-hmm.
Funimation I don't have, Amazon and Netflix, which is doing a tremendous amount
Mm-hmm.
of anime, which I'm enjoying. I
Right.
just watched uh, Pacific Rim, The Black, which I enjoyed a lot.
That was good. Yeah.
I enjoyed it more than Pacific Rim 2.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
gonna be honest with you. Which, yeah, like this is where they should have went with the story in
Mm-hmm.
Pacific Rim 2, but you know what have you. Um, like I, if someone was just all right, say somebody's just starting out in anime and they're like, okay, give me three animes to to start with. They could be new or old, what have you, and they're not giving you any type of criteria. They're just like, give me three to start out with. What three would you go with?
All right. Now, I'll pick three from each. No, and it's interesting you say that because the thing that I love about anime is the diversity in storytelling that they have.
Yes, there's something for everybody. Honestly, there's
Yeah,
something for everybody.
I would go for starters.
Mm-hmm.
I would go with um, uh, Welcome to Ballroom. I
Okay.
don't know if you've ever seen Welcome to Ballroom.
No,
It's
I
literally
haven't.
an anime about ballroom dancing, and it's one of my favorites. And
Really?
which is such a far stretch from the stuff that I usually watch, but it was done by the same studio that did Yuri on Ice.
Oh. All right. All right.
Yeah, and it's about a kid that who comes from a broken home. His dad's an alcoholic, and he finds he just doesn't do good at anything, and he found ballroom dancing to be like he just happened to stumble across this thing. He had a crush on a girl, and found out the girl was into ballroom dancing, and he happened to see the little place that she trains at, and
Mm-hmm.
then the dude that instructs her, which I call the ballroom dancing version of All Might, comes out of nowhere and like takes him on as like the student. So he's like the Midoriya of ballroom dancing, and
All right.
teaches him all the
Cool.
moves. Now, here's the thing that's very interesting about the anime is that it tells a story about a group of kids doing this stuff, and then it also so very well animated, and it pays attention to the actual sport, the actual thing of ballroom dancing. Like everything that they're doing in there, they go into different styles of dance competitions, which is amazing. And the
So
reason
it's
why
that detail and
yeah,
that detail and studying. All right. Cool.
exactly. It's not just the detail of the practice of ballroom dancing as a competition, but it's how the writer uh, tells the story and how the animators actually take that story and bring it to life so you could see how it's being portrayed to you visually. It's so good.
Mm.
It was good. Like I got into it because I remember one of the guys that I was following on Twitter who was an animator on one show and then was talking about how he worked on Welcome to Ballroom, and I was looking at some of the Genga from it, and I was like, this is insane. Like this animation is crazy. These dance scenes are just top notch. And it takes a lot for you not to do you animate a fight scene. Anybody can animate kicks and punches, but to animate two people dancing the tango is like, and then do
Exactly.
it in such a cinematic way where you're like, holy crap, this is all hand drawn. So I would say if somebody wants to see the art of it, you'd watch Welcome to Ballroom. The other one that I would say on a totally different tip would be Hakkenden, Legend of the Eight, Legend of the Nine. I think it's Legend of the Nine Dog Warriors. Yeah, I think it's the Nine Dog Warriors. It's an old school anime anthology
Mm-hmm.
that basically talks about these legendary samurai that existed, I think, in the Edo during like I don't think it's the Sengoku era. I'm not really that great on my Japanese history, but it takes place during feudal Japan, basically. And they're like the offspring of a particular spirit. It was like a
Mm-hmm.
weird pact that was made between this emperor and this dog, and it's just such a crazy story, but it's filled with magic and all kinds of stuff and everything. But it's told over the course of like I think several episodes, and each episode there is an overall story arc, but it takes
Mm-hmm.
place from all of these samurai coming together as brothers because they're spiritual brothers. They're not physical brothers, but they're
Right.
spiritual brothers because they were all born from the same deity, and they come back together to fight this evil, this evil emperor to come into Japan.
I think I might have
And
this
yeah,
on a box
it's
set.
old school. Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah. You probably have it
I
then.
think I got this
It's
from like
old school.
Suncoast videos a
Yeah,
long.
yeah,
Oh
Yeah,
shit! All right,
Hakugen.
yeah.
It's really really good. And the thing is, every episode is directed by a different animation director,
Oh.
and you can tell like this the differences between like they'll even shift between animation directors in one episode. One episode will have very simplistic storyline telling animation. The other one will be straight up action. Another episode is nothing but story, and you'll see it throughout the whole in this whole context. It's really really good.
Hmm.
And then the third, I guess, if I want to show something to somebody that's over the top crazy, I would introduce them to Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann to me, like in it like everything about it is it's just raw emotion.
Hmm.
You can see it through the way that the characters are animated, the story is told, the beats of the story, everything about it is just really, really good. And when it comes to giving you that, when people say that you want to see a big mech anime, that's crazy. That has all the you watch Gurren Lagann.
Like that's the one. Like you would go right past Gundam,
Yes,
which
I
is
would.
known as like the well that and uh the classic. Oh my god, what the hell? Evangelion.
Yeah, yeah. You
Like
can.
those are like
I
those classic known like mech
right. I go
animes.
past it. I go past those two, and it's not to say that those aren't good. It's they deal with a whole different. Um, they deal with different issues. Like Gundam is highly political,
Yes. Yes.
and then when you look at something like Neon Genesis, it it goes to a whole aspect of existentialism and religion and all kinds of other stuff.
Hmm.
Also, with a huge amount of mental illness as well. When you look at that, but the thing with Gurren Lagann is that it takes those same concepts of the bare base of politics, the three class system or the two class system, and it takes the aspect of existentialism, about knowing your place in the universe, and it puts it together into one crazy story that is just so over the top and so playful
Hmm.
and yet passionate at the same time that you just really get into it. So I would say Gurren Lagann would be the third one that I would say. I mean, that's for like I would introduce those to somebody like just starting out. But if you want to go towards like I think some of my favorites, that I indulge in a lot, that I watch over and over again, especially a lot of Satoshi Kon animations like Paranoid Agent, Paprika, Tokyo Godfathers, like stuff like
Hmm.
that. They all have different themes that deal with like the human psyche and spirit, and just you know when you think about like something like Paranoid Agent, that's another show altogether. I can go on forever about that, or
That
even like
one, it
yeah,
just the opening alone freaks me out
hmm
because everyone's laughing and smiling.
that's on purpose.
That
It
is
tells you what the
so
yeah
freaky to me. I remember when I
hmm
started watching it when I was kind of new to anime like that, and it was on
it was an Adult
Tsunami.
Swim. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
on it, and I was watching, and they're like, "Oh, Paranoid Agent," and they're showing everything else action based, whatever. And I'm like, "Oh, all right, cool." And I'm watching, it, and I had no lights on, because it's late at night, so I had no lights on. I'm watching in the dark, and I'm like, "This opening." And I recently went back to go watch it, and the opening freaked me out too much. I was like, "Nah, I'm good."
Oh, I got another one for you.
It's
Have you ever
so oof.
watched? Have you ever watched Perfect Blue?
No, but I've heard that one is just it will basically just take your mind. It's everything that'll just
So
mess you up.
if you look at and that's also by Satoshi Kon too.
Hmm.
He did all those. He's done a wide range of um, different topics in his anime,
Hmm.
which is crazy because you watch Perfect Blue, and I find it funny that a lot of the movies that he worked on that he did were used as like the base for other movies that we all know now. Like
Yeah.
Perfect Blue has, you know, um, the director of Requiem for a Dream. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Hmm.
Basically, used some of the scenes from Perfect Blue as
Yep.
a homage to Satoshi Kon, and even in Black Swan as well.
Yes, that, yeah, yeah, because it's still like
Um,
that actress, like that
yeah,
kind of vibe to it. Yep.
exactly. And then also, Paprika was basically the foundation for movie for oh, I can't remember the name of it. The other one that the dude who did Tenet did.
Um, um,
The one with that you go back. It was with Leonardo DiCaprio and the dreams and insurrection.
uh,
Not insurrection.
in
I said insurrection.
in
Um,
Inception.
Inception.
Yeah,
Yes,
in
Inception.
Inception. Yep.
So you see a lot of that in like Paprika. It's basically the same concept.
Hmm.
Um, so like I would say some of that too, if you really wanted to get into things that are not just super big fighting mechs and stuff like that, or
Yeah,
Dragon Ball. If you ever want to, I
tournament
would definitely
fighting and such
suggest it.
like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, like
What you
a lot
normally
of
think of when you think of anime, you normally think of just
right.
those. But there's something for every. I mean, you can go as far as Food Wars. I
Oh,
haven't
Food
watched
Wars, I
it,
love. Yeah, yeah,
but I
I love Food
know
Wars.
that it just is not. If you're like, oh yeah, man, just watch some Dragon Ball Z. I've heard Food Wars is good. It's not going to be the same. It's not.
Yeah,
One of these
yeah.
things is not like the other. But go
No,
ahead. Do
exactly,
you, brother?
exactly.
Do you?
Even
Do you?
we were talking about Fate the other right before the whole thing
It's
before we started recording.
Fate
Fate
is
is great,
ridiculous.
but there's a shoot off series from Fate. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's about because you remember in Fate Stay Night, the main character who ends up becoming Archer later on when he's an adult. I don't know if you
Yes.
remember that.
Hmm.
Remember he used to love to cook for Saber and everybody all the time.
Oh my God.
They did a whole anime. I think it's only a few episodes. It's got to be like something like 5 episodes of him just cooking for them, and it's like this little slice of life story during the Holy Grail
Dude.
War, where you have like him making all of these authentic Japanese dishes, and like the animation and the detail to him cooking is so amazing, just like you see in Food Wars. But it's like
Dude.
they only did a few episodes of it. I'm gonna see if I can find it and see if I can send you the title for it because it's
Because I've
literally a shoot
watched,
off.
yeah, because I think I've watched the first three Fate series.
Yeah,
I want to say because they're just so it the
there's so
whole
much of them.
idea and the
Yeah,
Grail and the fact that they don't say who these historical figures are, but you can look it up and go, "This is who this person is," and I
exactly.
and how dark it can be, but how
Hmm.
beautiful it can be as well. Like the character who was like you can just call me Bluebeard.
Hmm.
And I didn't really know anything about Bluebeard, and I started looking up the stuff. And then, like when I was looking up the characters and seeing who they're based on, then looking at the person who they're based on, and I'm like, oh my god! And one of them, what was it? Was it Castor in Fate Zero, the first series,
Yeah, Phase Zero. Yeah,
who was like a child murderer? I want to say,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think,
I forgot what they did. The what historical figure that was.
and I
But
was like,
see,
wait, what? I
I
was like,
love,
whoa,
yeah, I love what they do with that. Like even the gender bending, I love. I love
yeah,
when
oh my, yes,
they made King
yes,
Arthur into a woman. I was just like, wait, what?
yes,
This is crazy.
yeah,
They
that
even
was
have
awesome.
in the new one in Fate Granddaughter, they have this really cute, sexy girl who's like Leonardo da Vinci, and I'm just like, wait, what? What's going
Yeah,
on?
it's
Just
so
it's insane. I love it. It's
it's
great.
so great to have something like that is so different that
Yeah.
mixes genres, but then you get these great fights, and they're like fights where everybody's coming out of everywhere, not like
Oh
these
yeah,
big
yeah.
great fights, but they're these one-on-one fights. And like you were saying before, the art direction, the choreography of it.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
love when I see this is something that I noticed when I started watching Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Right.
was noticing the actual martial arts that were in there. Like you can actually
Yeah.
see a move and go, "Oh my god, I've seen that move before," or maybe you've done that move if you do martial arts, and seeing them incorporated into there, and you know that they went and they researched, they got people
Right.
in, they looked, they
Well,
whatever they had to
there's
do was beautiful.
yeah, I can even tell you there's a black dude who was a martial arts expert that they got in to come and actually perform some of the scenes for the animators to actually animate to.
Oh my
for the
god.
production of Avatar. Yeah, yeah. I forgot his name, but I could look it up for you. I think I saved it on my YouTube. Yeah, they did a whole special on him. He not only did Avatar, they kept him. He was their martial arts consultant, um, even up to Korra.
Oh
He would
wow.
do all the scenes, and the animators would sketch them all out. The storyboard artists would sketch them all out, and then basically take what they do and then add their little exaggeration to it, and
Hmm.
just to make the scenes look a little bit more cinematic. But yeah, it was they paid a lot of attention to detail. In fact, like
Yes.
even performed all the steps that you see them do in the beginning intro of all the different styles of
Oh,
earth, air,
all the
wind,
bending and such.
everything.
Wow.
Yeah, he choreographed that himself. He did the whole thing, and they animated to what he did.
Because even those, like,
So
if you
yeah,
watch it, like, you can see that those are like actual like
those are
martial arts,
real
like
martial
like
arts. Yeah.
katas and such like that doing it. And it's
Yep.
like that's what used to get me by. So I started when I started watching more anime, and I was like, oh, watching the scenes, but watching Fate and watching Lancer, who was my favorite. I love
Yeah.
Lancer. This
Yeah. Everybody loves Answer.
just the pole work and doing that, and the spear, and then
Hmm.
when you get into weapons, it's beautiful. And then when you have hand to hand and actually seeing the hands together in the animation, it's
Right.
like
My favorite,
that's
I think my
oof.
favorite of the whole uh, Fate series, I think, is Gilgamesh. Every time Gilgamesh come
Yeah,
through, I'm like, that's the
Gilgamesh.
dude. That's the dude. Then you need to check out Fate Granddaughter, because the thing about Fate Granddaughter is it's still Gilgamesh from the Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night,
Hmm.
but it's before he becomes the heroic spirit. They travel back to Babylonia and everything, and they hook it up. But
Oh, I definitely got to check that out
it's you
then.
definitely got to check it out.
So very much for even gracing us with this time. Man. Like I said, there's a lot that we could go through. You got to do
Of
your thing.
course. No, it's all
Things have
good,
to
man.
happen, brother. But thank you so much,
I
Ev-
appreciate you. I appreciate you for having me and even thinking about doing this. It means a lot, man. Thank you
brother.
so much.
Awesome. This is the man behind Bounce. This is the man behind Triborough Tales, which is wait. Don't watch Friends. Read Triborough Tales, and then watch Living Single. Dread X Society (DSX). This man is Chuck Collins. That's all I can say.
Oh, thank you, man. Really appreciate it, dude.
Thank you for spending time with us. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day. As always, do the best you can with what you got because it's all you get. All right, you have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your
Definitely.
day, folks. Peace.
All right, man.